Here we go, and it is time for another sprint zone. This one's for 827. A good crew today, and we're heading up County Road 5. And I'd like to take this time to thank Scott Pollia and Byron for their telemetry. And a small note about the speedometer in the lower left. Right now it's tracking Byron's a little bit slower than we're actually going. We're actually doing about 22 here. Curtis up front looking strong. Jim Allman up front looking strong. And it is a well-ordered group. We're 2 by 2 by 2. We have a rider up front 1 by, but we keep things ordered with no overlapping wheels. And I must say, this is some of the best riding I have seen from the group in a while. I really like it. Up front there, the rider we're coming up on, the legend Byron Besserell, as he waits for the posse. No doubt after finishing his warm-up with the TTH guys. The signal's there, and this is that janky portion of the road that we got through. Everyone is starting to get reorganized after that. Yep, there he is, the big man without the cape today on his road bike. Shot of Ilka there, and we look rearward, and what do we see? OG Mr. Kennedy there in the yellow, Mr. Lutz there next to him, and everybody else. Mr. Baum there in his bright green helmet, holding himself some recently good training efforts, and I've seen like 1 minute power best by him, and that's a good thing. It's good to see that the training is actually working. And now it is go time. And I stop everybody, a good rearward shot, strongmen there, Wolfgang, etc. as we begin the melee. And Curtis and Jim Allman were up front for a long time. And I was thinking to myself, this was kind of hard. We were actually doing like 22, 23 up there. Not much of a tailwind, but it was going to probably soften up some people. And I had a chat with Jim about it. I'm like, Jim, why are we going so hard? And he was kind of like, hoping to soften up some people. But in reality, I think he's only have softened himself up. And the legend up front, Matthew Michaels in the old school kit next to Daniel. And they begin to eke away from us. I, at this point, looking at my wattage, starting to creep up there. And in the low 280, 300 watts instantaneous. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I want to be up this close, because there are lots of wheel suckers back here, and I've seen videos of how good, and of course empirical evidence, how good the draft is much further back, and that's what people are looking for. And at this point, I consciously let Michael go. I wanted to see how far people would let him go, and if they expect me to close this one. And I am not. Mr. Allman not willing to close that. Perhaps he is, in fact, too soft. Mr. Kennedy next to me, looking strong. And this is not dangerous yet. There are strong men back here. And there we see rearward, nothing going on. We got Danny opportunistically thinking, I'm going to get on Michael's wheel. And there, at this point, as soon as Byron goes, this is dangerous. We can't let this one go. And now it is time for me to pony up and bring this back. Ilka there on the gravel bike, looking strong. Her good gravel bike is in the shop, but I suspect this one might even be faster with the thinner wheels. Wolfgang looking strong there. Daniel having enough of that as we reel people in, and the speed is high already, 29 miles an hour. 30-second power, over 315 watts for me. This was no walk in the park, as the strong men were up front. Everyone getting strong out, and selection beginning to be made already. Wolfgang looking strong, and John, who is looking exceptionally strong lately, making the junction in front of me as I catch him. And now there's real trouble. Byron at the front. The damage earlier was being done by Matthew Michaels, and there were not a few people, only a few people could have brought that back. Again, rearward, Ilka falling off the pace, and there is slight wind off of our right shoulder. She is in the wind on the gravel bike. I don't know if she's not confident or what she's doing back there, but it's bleeding off energy. Back up front, Mr. Lawyer, who hasn't been around in a while, but riding strongly. Mr. Kennedy coming in, And I'm looking at the way I rendered this one with a flat profile. It looks kind of fast, a little kind of distorted, but I like it. It gives the sensation of speed. and we are going fast. I am well above my FTP at this point, and the little accelerations don't really show how hard it is. Rearward already. Ilka out there in the wind already, no one giving her enough respect to let her in. And here we are, dancing on the yellow line, but within the rules of engagement. My 30-second power still above 200, and looking at the big men, Byron up there, 400 watts, and a 30-second power, 400 watts, over 400 watts for 30 seconds. Impressive. Wolfgang looking strong with the 289 30 second as he is on my wheel, and it's almost as if everyone is guttered. In the gray there, Joel looking strong and fresh off of his performance at the Steamboat Gravel. The fitness and training has done him quite good as he is easily able to maintain contact. And there are 3 danger men up front. Byron and the legend, of course, Matthew Michaels. And I don't know if we'll be able to bring them back. Mr. Kennedy working strong there, trying to bring people back. Mr. Lawyer, no moss, as his training in between restaurant openings and gigs has not afforded him the ability to keep his normal modicum of fitness. Steve falling back, a strong man, either a tactical move or perhaps it is he just wants to, I don't know, not work that hard this early, not be a part of the catch. And it looks like, and this is a most impressive Wolfgang, 350, 60 watts for 30 seconds to bring these guys back. Justin of the FCC team looking strong. And I should take this opportunity to thank Justin. I purchased one of those chain catchers for the chain rings on the derailleur. That's a wonderful piece of equipment. And no longer am I dropping into the bottom bracket. Shout out there. Looking rearward, people are looking strong. And this is when problems happen. Slight variation, but look rearward. There was a huge violation of the yellow line by one of the FCC team members. We'll see more of that later, and I may stop the video, talk about this, because this is unacceptable. Nice echelon up there. The big man, Matthew Michael, and it looks like Byron is off the front. Big wattage being thrown down. And at this point, I'm happy because things slowed down just a little bit. My heart rate is probably higher than it is being shown because I didn't have my good Garmin chest strap, and the wrist monitor is just not good. But just know this, I am working hard here. People taking over. Byron is up front. Looks like Mr. Kennedy doing his share of the work. And here we are. I'm not certain why we're this close to the yellow line. Perhaps it's an attempt to gutter people, or they're unaware of the echelon, but it's definitely softening people up. Looking real, and there it is right there. A huge violation. And we're going to go back to that and pull that back up because that was craziness right there. Just craziness. And we'll back up a little bit. Even there. And here's the first discretion or indiscretion. Way over the yellow line here. Just craziness. I don't know what has happened here, but the rules of engagement, in fact, have been broken. Broken, stomped upon. I just don't know what to say here. That just shocked me. I didn't realize that was happening. And yes, I had a chat with that gentleman, and maybe we're going to lead up to the teams to police their own. Fort Collins, Rio, Old School, all of those that are in attendance should be watching their people, because sometimes cars see kits. They see kits and they call the owners, and the bank might get a call. Many years ago when I rode for the Flying Tigers, we did a ride. Ended up when we got back to our starting point, the constabulary was there waiting for us to give us a lecture. And if it were not that one of our members was the high school friend of the cop who stopped us and talked to us, things might have been different. So there's the freeze here. Look at this. There's a car behind us coming up, and we're clearly in the yellow oncoming. I don't know what to say here. Just unacceptable. I freeze here. We can't keep doing this. Anyway, going on. And look at that, still out there. Yeah, I understand, but the car back, it's even worse. Not good. The rules of engagement are there for your safety. Okay, enough on that one. So, Byron has been brought back. Impressively so. Justin out front doing work, everyone in tow. The heads of state are all here. And I like the fact that now we have gone to the correct side of the road. No longer trying to gutter people. Now, we could gutter people, but that is not the way. The way here is to ride people off your wheel, giving them every chance. And that's how we do. Looking rearward here, people still hanging on, strong men, and the pace is still reasonably high, 25 miles an hour. Watt is reasonably high, and it looks like we're not going that hard, but I assure you we are. Again, more indiscretion there. I just can't get over it. You know, what has happened here this time? I don't know, but it's unacceptable. Everyone are ramming and thumping here. People working hard. And I'm hoping to maintain and keep contact. And now there's slightly a second echelon forming, and it looks like that might be Justin out there doing the work in front of the legend Matthew Michaels. And there's a little bit of a lull, and I am pleased. Looks like that was Ron Kennedy up at the front, representing the breakaway team, looking rearward again. Oh, more indiscretion. I can hardly even contain myself when I first saw this. I just couldn't believe what I was saying, as if my words mean nothing. And here we go. Here's the attack. Byron at the front, going there, going hard. And look at his numbers here, 420 instantaneous. And it must not be a real attack at this point. Yeah, just going to the front to soften people up. And gaps are beginning to open. Justin falling back. Nice work there. Very nice work as he sits up. Mr. Kennedy has a slight gap here as he's working to close it. I'm going to come around here and give him some assistance. Closing ever so slowly. He looks back. He probably didn't need the help, but was welcome to have it. And now I've pulled myself up on Joel in the gray, who was, like I said, riding exceptionally strong. I do not know if he's seen the pointy end of the stick yet, but that means he is fresh. But the work back here, nevertheless, is hard, even if you are sitting in. Even my 30 seconds, 335 watts at one point there. And now there's Byron, slowly, 30 seconds, 450 watts. Wolfgang behind him, 380 watts. The numbers show what is going on here. No one able to close that gap, or they're unwilling, wanting Wolfgang to do more work. And now it is time to go. The big man, the man who is legendary here, the man who has won many of these sprint zones solo, Matthew Michaels, going to the front, mano a mano with Wolfgang. Wolfgang wanting no assistance, wanting to muscle himself up to the front, but he is no match for the legend. And there's Joel. A quick sprint around for that, and then Steve around me. And a good time was had by all. I was pleased with that one. Looks like I got a top 5. We got Marcelo there, a few cars back. Not too horrible. Although I want to say, like right now, I am over to the white line. When the sprint zone is finished, we really need to be, as the riders behind us, they are over to the right. That's the way it should be. We don't want to make these cars go around any more than they need to. Need to keep at least some sort of courtesy here. And normally the people in the ride, we wave, if we, troubled cars for a bit. Most people are, in fact, friendly, and life is good. That was a good one. A good time was had by all, except for that whole rules of engagement, breaking of the yellow line thing. Yeah, we can't have that. That's just unacceptable. The plan was to give a lecture to the group after this one, which I did. This is coming out a week later. I do take these things seriously. Safety is number one. Enough said about that. And a good time was had by all. That was hard. Anyway, until next time, congratulations to all your top 3. Until next week, peace out.